All right. Hi, everyone. This is Shua Allegra, founder of Grace and Hope Consulting. And we are talking all about relationships and how relationships impact our mental and emotional wellness. And I've been interviewing brave people who are so willing to share the story to help all of us, to know what we're watching out for, but also to build healthy relationships that benefit all of us and help all both parties grow. And this is relationship in general. It can be family, it can be spouse, it can be coworkers, it could be siblings, like all of it. We're talking about all relationships. So today I have Lori here with me, and I'll let Lori introduce herself.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I am Lori Baird with LB Health Coach. I focus on the gut mind connection and also introduce the mind, body, and spirit so that there's not this whole disconnection and there's not, we just focus on the whole entire body.
Yeah, yeah. I love that gut mind connection. Often people don't think about how much our guts, affect, our mood and our mind. Yeah. So thank you for doing all the good work that you do. So as relating to the topic of the impact of relationship on our mental health and emotional wellness, like how, I guess, do you have a personal story that relates to this? What are your thoughts on that topic, and how does that, I guess, come true to you?
I do, and I believe everybody has
Yes.
their own journey in life,
Mhm.
and how we deal with it is completely different. We all have trauma that we come from, and I've experienced that in my life.
Mhm.
And I feel like with the trauma that I experienced, I held everything in. I tried to numb myself. I
Mhm.
did some things I shouldn't have done, and I paid the price. I feel like I was emotionally numb for so long
Mhm.
that I let myself go. I let my body go. I let the food dictate my life. I let, you
Mhm.
know, smoking cigarettes and drinking too much alcohol at times in my life, that I think it had an impact on my body. And speaking of the mind, body, and spirit, I don't think I was connected at all.
Mhm.
And in that, I had fertility issues for a very long time. And I found myself, uh, you know, trying everything I could naturally, going to the acupuncturist, chiropractor, integrative
Medicine.
OBGYN, finding out what food worked for my body, what food didn't work for my body.
Mhm.
I became more spiritually connected. I did all the things I could to
Mhm.
try to heal myself because our body wants to heal.
Yes.
It just takes a little time and effort on our part to allow that to happen. Then after I got all that taken care of, my OBGYN said, now you need to de-stress.
Yeah.
And I thought, of all things I've done,
Mhm.
de-stressing is the most difficult thing I had to do because I worked and it was a stressful job, and
Mhm.
taking care of the home and the stress of money and just everyday stressors. And, she said, go on vacation, don't think
Mhm.
about getting pregnant. Don't, do all this stuff. And,
Mhm.
and you just compile all that when you're feeling like you're a failure because you've tried so hard
Yeah.
to turn your life around, and it becomes this emotional roller coaster for you.
Mhm.
And then it just, there doesn't seem to be enough that I was filling myself up with. It
Mhm.
felt like I was pushing everything away again, and trying not to think about things. And when I started to dive more into the shadow work, as it's called, the grief
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
feeling some of the trauma, and going through therapy, and really connecting with how those emotional times when the trauma was around was still in my body, was
Mhm.
still affecting me in ways I had no idea. I was allowing the stress in my life. I wasn't really connecting when I thought I was. And
Mhm.
when
Mhm.
the word stress came around after all the things I thought I was doing so right,
Mhm.
it really put things more in perspective as to, okay, what are the stressors in my body? What am I feeling? Where am I feeling it?
Yeah.
And why? And how can I dig really deep to find out where that emotional connection is and why my mindset isn't on that growth mindset, why I'm just, my belief systems needed to be questioned. Things that I thought I was working on and thought I was over, I really don't think I was. And I took that out on my body and other people around me. And I take full responsibility for a lot of the things that I did wrong in my life, and, tried to move forward in what I call acts of service, and just sharing my story and helping others the best way I can.
Right, right. Oh, you touch on so many things that I work with on, and it's just like I was like, I'm trying so hard not to just interject. I'm like, yes, yes, there's all the good things. Because so I wrote in December, I published a book. It's called The Self-Relief Method, and it just, you pretty much just talked about the entire book right there. Because when we go through life, we go through trauma will will put us in this stress, if you want, that stress mode all the time, even when there's no stress around. And there's even there's, his name is Bender, I can't say his last name, but he wrote a book on the body keeps the score, how our bodies keep score of all the trauma that we've been through. And as we're going through life, no matter if it was, relationship was gone or whatever caused the trauma might be gone, but we're always in this hyper vigilant mode, and we're creating all this extra hormone that are not, have nowhere to go, right? And it just stays in the body, causing inflammation and all this stuff. And yes, and sometimes we're like, well, I don't want to deal with it, but at the same time, if we don't deal with it, we don't find healing, because in fact, all the areas of our lives. So I'm just like, yeah, you nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah, cortisol levels, the hormones, all of it, and that
Yeah.
flight, freeze
Yes.
response that we still have when something happens that's so really minor, but in our minds it becomes so huge because
Right.
we had before that we haven't really dealt with. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I know we're, look, we wanted to talk about relationship, but we realize just because trauma is so prevalent nowadays, and some people, like you said, will numb these emotions. And I've been there too. I have a history of trauma, and I trained myself to numb these pains. And I even talk often how if we become so used to numbing our pain that we can't even feel it anymore, right? And it becomes like normal and or natural to us, and we go through life thinking that this is my status quo, this is what I'm used to. But then the body inside is screaming for help. We're just like, I need relief, I need relief, right? And then till we meet those people, like you with your OB/GYN, on the way, say, okay, we did everything we could do naturally and medically, now you need to do the rest. Right? It takes that internal work. So even if when we go through, those relationships that might lead to trauma, then like you said, we have to take responsibility of healing ourselves. In healing ourselves, then we can, make amends, and we can build those bridges again. Then all of us can heal. Yeah,
So we don't find ourselves in that relationship again because we're just going to
exactly.
repeat the pattern over and over until we can heal ourselves.
Yes,
And that's the
yes,
journey I think all of us want to be on. But sometimes we think, I don't want to do that, was the past. I want to move forward. But we don't realize we got to look at the past a little bit to heal in order to move forward. And I think
right.
that's where some people get stuck. Yeah, I want to move forward. I want all the niceties. I want all
Hmm.
the things that you see on Facebook that, live a happy life and mindfulness and all that stuff. I
Right.
want that. But if I'm not authentically feeling that, I'm just putting that out. I'm just trying to cover myself and trying to almost fake that happiness, almost like,
Yeah,
you have to really do the work in order to feel that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You nailed it. You have to do the work. There's just no way around it, right? And yeah, and it's almost like putting bandages. Like you have this big. Honestly, if I have this big cut on my belly, for example, and I just get bandages from the dollar store or from the regular pharmacy, CVS or Rite Aid or whatever, and just or Walgreens, put it on there. I'm like, I'm gonna be fine, but I'm still bleeding, right? And you're bleeding all over those relationships, being, mad at with your kids for no reasons, or being short tempered with everybody at work, and then sometimes we get into, even more behaviors that are not healthy for us. Like you said, the drinking and the smoking, and sometimes working too much or not sleeping enough, all
Oh,
those things. And
yeah.
yeah, and it's a cycle, because the more you do those, we do those things, the less we're healing, and the worse things get, because if you're not sleeping, if you're not taking care of yourself, then you're really like, always high, like, high on bad stuff, right? Or unhealthy stuff, and every little thing becomes a big problem. Someone might just be, saying hi at the grocery store, like, I'm fine, it's like, okay, I didn't do anything, I'm just saying hi. But those are the things that happens when we don't take the time to heal. So yeah, I mean, if I could even title, our conversation, it would be, finding healing after traumatic relationships. I
Right.
think that just, that nails it right there. You need to do the work to find your healing after you go through a traumatic relationship.
And
So
yeah, go
so
ahead.
what had helped you, as you're finding your own healing, and, moving past, the past, and working on those things, like, what are some things that you did to work on that for yourself?
I have a fantastic therapist. I believe 100%
Awesome.
in seeing a therapist, finding one that connects with you, that you understand, and they understand
Yes.
you and what you've been through.
Mhm.
That's first and foremost. I did a lot of journaling. I find
Mhm.
therapeutic. Uh,
Yes.
there's certain times in our lives where some things you just need to dance,
Mhm. Mhm.
activity and eating healthy for my body, and getting that gut mind connection where I get in tuned with a healthy balanced gut,
Mhm.
which in turn helps with any anxieties or depression,
Yes.
because we have a lot of serotonin in our gut, and we've got to get that microbiome balanced, and
Yeah.
equals healthy food and probiotics and phytobiotics and all the nutrients and minerals that we may not even be absorbing.
Mhm.
Just light exercise, I'm not into heavy exercise myself, just even walking, getting that
Mhm.
fresh air, that, meditation sometimes works for me, but it's not always my cup of tea. Uh,
Mhm.
I do like essential oils. I like,
Yes.
there's so many different modalities, and there's some things that work some days for me and some things that don't. It just depends
Mhm.
on my mood, just like
Yes.
everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You wake up and you're like, oh, enough with all this. I just need to go outside and walk. I don't need
Yes.
anything else today but that. So that's some of the things that I've found that are helpful for me, and dog therapy is very helpful for me too.
Yeah. 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 And it's, when I do trauma work, I talk a lot about having a toolbox.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what you just mentioned. Like, in your toolbox, you might have that journal. In the toolbox, you might have, dog therapy. You might have your essential oil. You might have, all the other things you mentioned, your meditation and your journaling. All those things, are in your toolbox. It can be a physical toolbox, or you can have a list and you just put in a little plastic, plastic container or something. But what happened is, when you have that toolbox and you have things, resources, tools actually, readily available for you in this moment when you need it. So then, like, in those days when you're just like, okay, today meditation is not going to work, but what else is in my toolbox that I can use? I walk, I'll play with my dog. And then also, I'm now realizing that we don't have to do this alone. None of us who are healing or healed, none of us did it alone. There's just no way. So sometimes when we've been hurt so much, it becomes easy to just block everybody out. We put some, and I'm all about boundaries, but we need to have healthy boundaries, right? And sometimes we see boundaries like this as, like this fence that nobody can come out. But honestly, we need to have boundaries are like a gate. It's a gate so that you can open in and to let people who are healthy in, help them help you, like you say, like, let them help you, like your therapist. Having a really good therapist can help you process the trauma and start finding healing. And then, if it's a gate, you can also close it when there's people who might be, not the same level where you are, but maybe, some people who are in your life, but you're not going to feed it into the toxic part of the relationship. Right. So, having those flexible boundaries, but, it's not flexible for everyone. It's flexible for certain people. So some, it's a gate where we open up one for healthy people, and we kind of block for people who might not be helpful for us in the moment. And all of us grow. Yeah. So sometimes we think we're going to block off everyone, and we realize that, we're blocking out people we can help, but sometimes we also block people. We're not giving people a chance to heal. So it's okay to put, like I had in my own life, even with family members, put temporary, boundaries there until I knew I could trust again. Until I knew, I could, experiment a little bit, how far I could trust them. And it wasn't like overnight that it'll just happen. It's, I need to work on myself. They need to work on themselves. And then, together start seeing things a little differently and working on a more of a healthy spot. So it's okay to have having that toolbox and having, that gate mentality, if you want, for relationships. Yes.
Yes, which brings me to the isolation and feeling isolated and reaching out when you can, and having that community and
Mhm.
close friendships that are with the healthy relationships, and putting out the good energy instead of coming in and feeling all the negativity,
Right.
and trying to shift the energy to more positivity and creating a balance, and tearing down those walls so that you can have healthy relationships. that's
Yes.
that's a start for some people. That's a
Yeah.
hard place to be.
Yeah, so true. So what are you working on right now that, people can be part of, and how can they connect with you if people have more questions about, even, about for your health coaching and how you're helping people find that connection between their gut and their mind? I mean, that's real so important. Like in my house, everybody take probiotics every single day. It's like we all need that, no matter how you're feeling. And we all need it. Sometimes my daughter was like, well, I'm not like my brother who is constipated all the time. He needs it. I'm like, no, we all need to have healthy guts, because I get that connection. All of us need it. So
Yes.
yeah, what are you working on right now, and how can people connect with you?
If you just go to lbhealthcoach.com, I have a
Okay.
website, and I'm on all social media as LB Health Coach. I
Okay.
do have a summit coming up. It's free for everyone, and there are
Okay.
15 professionals who are doing 30-minute segments about mental health,
Awesome.
and relationships and anxiety and things of this nature. And that's January 29th. If you just contact me, I can send you a link so you can register for that. And also, I do a lot of different programs. I've got different, like 3 month, 4 month, or 6 month
Mhm.
connections where you can get emails from me. I've got this great Get Healthy app where we can talk via Zoom here or on the
Yeah.
phone, and you can track your weight or your exercise regimen or your food, or you can send me pictures of your food and say, what's this ingredient, whatever.
Mhm.
There's also worksheets that I send you, and then we talk once a week about what's going on in your life
Awesome.
and what goals you intend to set and keep and drive with. Um, Also, I am a mental wellness partner with Amare Global, and they have
Mhm.
fantastic probiotics that help with the mental health aspect too. They also have, vitamins and things of that nature, so that's very helpful, and it's helped me tremendously. And they have a green powder and a fiber thing, and protein that I put in my smoothies every morning. I never did that before, but I found myself so busy, even as a health coach, not to eat healthy. So I'm like, okay, I can get all my greens in my smoothie in the morning. And then if I neglect myself throughout the day, at least I've got that. So
Mhm.
that's what I've been up to.
Awesome. Awesome. Yes. So I will post the link to your website. And by the time this air, it will probably be after the summit. So summer was January, right? 29th. So it's tomorrow. But if you if you send me the link, honestly, if you send me the link, I can post the link to the event just today, like on my page. That way people can still join and be part of that. But I'll make sure that the over links are there for your health coaching, and then people can also connect with their married. All that will be on your website, right? If they want any of the supplements and all that.
Yes. And
Awesome.
also with the summit, the first for 24 hours, it's free for everybody, but they can also, I think it's a minimal charge. I don't know, 60 or $70. It's not
Okay.
my health summit, somebody else that's putting it together with all
Mm-hmm.
the speakers.
Awesome.
So I think you can join and still hear all the speakers. And then she's doing this every month. I think next
Wow.
month is more about whole foods. And so
Okay.
it's going to be one of those, things to follow.
Yeah, yeah, that is awesome. So I will, yeah, if you send me the link, I'll post it today, and then even when you get the link for the whole food one too, I think the whole food goes well with what you're doing with all the gut healthy and stuff too. We can you add that link. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for sharing your story and sharing, all those good and healthy tips for all of us to have healthy relationship and healthy minds and moods and spirit. I really appreciate you, Lori.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. This has been really good. Thank you. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.